Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy practitioner. And we're still reading The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. And we're still in the Law of Cause and Effect on page 83. And I guess I'm just kind of disappointed in the reductionist attitude of this book. It kind of makes it not my experience at all, the way they describe it, but I'm going to read it anyway. My experience with the law of cause and effect is that I once lived where I was trying to get mine all the time and my life sucked. And then I changed things around and I lived by love. And now I walk in a quarter of light. So I just don't agree with reducing the law of cause and effect the way they do here, but I understand it. I just feel that it's important to note during this time. I mean, again, this was 1908. A lot of things hadn't happened yet. Right now, we're like, we are experiencing the law of cause and effect in a certain way because we've been so ignorant of everything that's been going on in the world. So we've been living in this kind of blissed out state in a certain way as we've been being more and more enslaved. But now everything's coming out, and just the darkest of the dark crap that's been going on this planet since the dawn of mankind, whatever that means. Um, I have my point of view on how that all came about. I don't really think we're from here, or we're partly from here, but um, seems like we were created as a slave race, and that's why we're slaves right now. And that's the law of cause and effect. But now it's coming to light. And what's also coming to light is how to live by natural law here. And when and if we choose to do that, we can come out of enslavement. That is definitely the law of cause and effect right there. Like if each individual person began to live according to natural law to the best of their ability and started to seek to grow spiritually, addressing their dark side, we would come out of enslavement. It would be an automatic shift. I'm not sure that we would need to use violence. I mean, we used violence to get the United States, and look, we're paying that price because humanity wasn't really ready. They were trying to escape tyranny in the country they were in, and they came and imposed tyranny on the people that were here. So it didn't really work. It's not going to really work unless we are not using violence to gain freedom. We have to gain freedom by being free, by standing up for principle. And what's going on right now in the United States, like basically the dark occult, Luciferians ruling behind the scenes, the gangs are creating chaos so that we'll beg them for the New World Order. I won't be begging them, but maybe some people in the collective will be begging them. People who still believe in the election process and presidents and all that. People who still believe they can delegate authority to another person might be doing that. I'm not going to be doing that, you know. Um, but again, I've been living by natural law for a long time, so I'd rather take on nature than deal with society at this point. But yeah, I mean, the dark occult has done, they're collapsing society or whatever they're doing, as they always do. I mean, people who think that like the stock market crashes on its own, you're naive. You're naive. They're in complete and total control of that, and they make it crash so that they can collect all of our worldly goods as we sell everything off to try to make ends meet. I mean, that's basically how they absorb all the wealth from us. And they are just so greedy because they're psychopaths. They don't have a heart connection. So that it never ceases that they want more. They want more of their share than their share of everything always. And now they want, you know, all of our property. They want our rights. They want us to live, you know, they want us to be diminished to a tiny population. They want to know where everything on the earth is at all times. I mean, it's insane. It's completely insane. They may get their way if the collective, you know, doesn't start living by natural law and start behaving like free beings, respecting other beings that are here with us. If that doesn't happen, we may have a period of extreme tyranny ahead of us. We may go extinct. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm acting as if there's still hope that people will recognize our duty. You know, the thing is as you awaken to natural law, you can't just use it for yourself. You have to tell other people about it. That's a responsibility, your responsibility. Once you understand and know this stuff, you have to go out and do what I'm doing. Talk about it, make videos about it, explain it in your own words so that you can attract the little group of people around you that will be able to hear your message, your version of it, so that they'll start to use it. I mean, they have been trying to bury this message so that most people think they have to live by man's law so that, you know, it makes it easier for them to do their thing. But if more people knew about this, which more people used to know about this used to be, you know, common sense. It was passed down. It was an inherited competency that was passed down from generation to generation. But once schools became government owned or people sent their children to school, that's when they started to program children to become workers. And it completely destroyed society. They've completely, demolished the family unit now by making women think that it's better to, have two wage earners. Now you have to have two wage earners, and children have to raise themselves in front of the TV or be sent to a nursery school. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. The Prussian education system, I'm not exactly sure what year that started, but this has been in the planning for a long, long time, that the government would be raising our kids. Now it's getting to the point where the government thinks they can take our kids if we don't do what the kids want to do before they even have brain development completed. It's completely chaotic now, but I'm going to just try to get through this chapter because I've already expressed how I feel about this stuff, and there's not much more that I can say about it. So page 83 says, just as a man has 2 parents and 4 grandparents and 8 great-grandparents and 16 great-great-grandparents and so on, until when, say, 40 generations are calculated, the numbers of ancestors run into many millions. So it is with the number of causes behind even the most trifling event or phenomena, such as the passage of a tiny speck of soot before your eye. It is not an easy matter to trace the bit of soot back to the early period of the world's history when it formed a part of a massive tree trunk, which was afterward converted into coal, and so on, until as the speck of soot, it now passes before your vision on its way to other adventures. And a mighty chain of events, causes and effects, brought it to its present condition. And the later is the latter. I think it's supposed to be the latter. The latter is but one of the chain of events which will go to produce other events hundreds of years from now. One of the series of events arising from the tiny bit of soot was the writing of these lines, which caused the typesetter to perform certain work, the proofreader to do likewise, and which will arouse certain thoughts in your mind and that of others, which in turn will affect others, and so on and on, beyond the ability of man to think further, and all from the passage of a tiny bit of soot. all of which shows the relativity and association of things, and the further fact that there is no great, there is no small, in the mind that causeth all. Stop to think a moment. If a certain man had not met a certain maid, way back in the dim period of the Stone Age, you, who are now reading these lines, would not be here now. Would not now be here. And if perhaps the same couple had failed to meet, we who now write these lines would not now be here. And the very act of writing on our part and the act of reading on yours will affect not only the respective lives of yourself and others, but will also have a direct or indirect effect upon many other people now living and who will live in the ages to come, hopefully. Every thought we think, every act we perform has its direct and indirect results which fit into the great chain of cause and effect. We do not wish to enter into a consideration of free will or determinism in this work for various reasons. Among the many reasons is the principle one that neither side of the controversy is entirely right. In fact, both sides are partially right. According to the Hermetic teachings, the principle of polarity shows that both are but half-truths, the opposing poles of truth, capital T. The teachings are that a man may be both free and yet bound by necessity, depending upon the meaning of the terms and the height of truth from which the matter is examined. The ancient writers express the matter thus: the further the creation is from the center, the more it is bound. The nearer to the center it reaches, the near free is it. Well, that's pretty much what we're talking about. Let me see here for a second. The further the creation is from the center, the more it is bound. The nearer the center it reaches, the freer it is. So that's basically what's happening right now. We are far off center, so we are bound. If we got closer to the center, the freer we would be. The majority of people are more or less the slaves of heredity, environment, etc., and manifest very little freedom. They are swayed by the opinions, customs, and thoughts of the outside world, and also by their emotions, feelings, moods, etc. They manifest no mastery worthy of the name. They indignantly repudiate this assertion, saying, "Why, I certainly am free to act and do as I please. I do just what I want to do." But they fail to explain whence arise the want to and as I please. What makes them want to do one thing in preference to another? What makes them please to do this and not do that? Is there no because to their pleasing and wanting? The master can change these pleases and wants into others at the opposite end of the mental pole. He is able to will instead of to will because some feeling, mood, emotion, or environmental suggestion arouses a tendency or desire within him to do so. See, that is very important too, because the more you read and study this work, the more you might pay attention to why you do some of the things you do. And then you can take control over that so that you can bring it under natural law. You can bring it under morality. I had a situation just the other day in which I was in a group of people who were completely violating agreements that we had all made a long time ago. And I had a moment where I thought, oh, maybe I should promote my business in the situation. What I thought was, maybe I could help this person by giving them 3 free treatments, blah, blah, blah. And I just had a feeling, this isn't right. So I examined it instead of just going off half-cocked and trying to, leap forward to promote myself. I stepped back and thought about it. And then I realized what I was doing and that I was just going to be part of the din of personalities before principles, which I really don't want to do. And you know what? I don't have to market myself because the creator will bring me the correct people into my life so that I can make a living. I don't need to just grab anyone and try to force my thing down their throat, because, you know, I've had that experience already, and I can get some pretty cuckoo people I really don't want to work with. I've worked with some who have gotten me off of an internet website or something like that. And I don't want to get into that whole thing, because I feel like it's totally dishonest anyway, because everybody's out there right now just trying to sell everything possible. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but everything's for sale. There's nothing sacred anymore. And, you know, everybody's trying to sell things, and that's the underlying vibe of everything that's going on right now is, what can I sell? What can I sell? How can I turn this into a sale or whatever? And I don't want to be involved in that. Myself personally, I don't, because, you know, the monetary system is not naturally from this earth. It was imposed on us by some alien vibe, some alien influence, and I just don't want to participate in it anymore because it sucks. It not only sucks, but it's completely dishonest, and there's so many dark things behind it, causing so many horrible things in our lives, that I want to participate in as little as possible and just be taken care of by the universe, as I always have. I digress. But I mean, again, you know, if you're not paying attention, you could just fall into that. Like I almost fell into it the other day, because that's the influence of the collective, which is being influenced by the dark occult that wants everybody to be selling everything and wants nothing to be sacred, so that, you know, a lot of harm is caused to a lot of sentient beings that are just trying to live here on this earth. I saw this bumper sticker a long time ago: live simply so that others can simply live. That's been thrown out, but that's what this world is supposed to be about. You know, there's enough for everyone, as long as we're not wasting our resources madly making stuff for no reason, plastic crap that's made from petroleum, which is made from the blood of the earth, which isn't supposed to be touched by us. See? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of effect of our cause going on right now, but back to it. The majority of people are carried along like the falling stone, obedient to environment, outside influences, and internal moods, desires, etc. Not to speak of the desires and wills of others stronger than themselves, heredity, environment, and suggestion, carrying them along without resistance on their part, or the exercise of the will, capitalized will, the exercise of their higher power, the exercise of their conscience. There are so many things people do automatically right now that cause harm to other sentient beings. It's really amazing, you know. You'd be amazed. And I'm not going to get into the dark things I know, because I have researched literally just the everything. And I'm not going to get into it because, you know, you'll have to come upon it yourself as a result of seeking. Moved like the pawns on the checkerboard of life, they play their parts and are laid aside after the game is over. But the masters, knowing the rules of the game, rise above the plane of material life and, placing themselves in touch with the higher powers of their nature, dominate their own moods, characters, qualities, and polarity, as well as the environment surrounding them, and thus become movers in the game instead of pawns, causes instead of effects. The masters do not escape the causation of the higher planes, but fall with the higher laws, and thus master circumstances on the lower plane. They thus form a conscious part of the law instead of being mere blind instruments. While they serve on the higher planes, they rule on the material plane. That's what I want to be able to do. But that's what the dark occult is doing with us, moving us around like pawns on the chessboard of life. You know, I'm sure most of you know about the checkerboard, the black and white floorboard, the floor of the checkerboard. When you see a black and white checkerboard in a movie, you can know that that movie was created by the dark occult to send a message as some kind of predictive programming, because the black and white symbolizes, the white is morality and the black is immorality. And then when you're walking on that floor, you just aren't paying attention to what square you're putting your feet in. So it's for people who aren't aware of what they're doing. That's what it symbolizes. And then, and you know, you see that all over the place. Whenever you see people wearing black and white on TV, you know that there's the message there from the puppeteers pulling the strings. But you know, the thing is we can be the masters of in our own lives just by paying attention and starting to apply these laws, so that we're not pushed around by puppet masters who think they're puppet masters. But on higher and on lower, the law is always in operation. There is no such thing as chance. The blind goddess has been abolished by reason. We are able to see now, with eyes made clear by knowledge, that everything is governed by universal law, that the infinite number of laws are but manifestations of the one great law, the law which is the all. It is true indeed that not a sparrow drops unnoticed by the mind of the all, and that even the hairs on your head are numbered, as the scriptures have said. There is nothing outside of law, nothing that happens contrary to it. And yet, do not make the mistake of supposing that man is but a blind automaton. Far from that. The Hermetic teachings are that man may use law to overcome laws, capital L law to overcome small letter laws, and that the higher will always prevail against the lower, until at last he has reached the stage in which he seeks refuge in the law itself, capital LAW, law, and laughs the phenomenal laws to scorn. Are you able to grasp the inner meaning of this? Until next time.